Hey, I'm here with my buddy Paco. Paco, this is I think his third home. He's been rehomed a couple times to the Humane Society, and he acted rough and tough when I first showed up for the session. As you can see, he's not an aggressive dog. He's an insecure dog, and I think that he's bounced around a couple different homes. We don't know what happened in the past. He might have been abused. He might have been under socialized. We might have just simply had a bad experience during a fear period. We're not sure. One thing I'm not doing right now is I'm not petting because he's shivering a little bit. I've had him on my lap a couple of times during the session, but if you pet a dog when it's nervous or anxious or fearful, you make it a little bit more nervous, anxious, or fearful. So I'm just laying my hands on him. In this video, we're going to go over some tips and tricks that you can use if you have a dog that's insecure and acting aggressively as a coping mechanism to make people move away. Now, we fitting him up with a martingale collar. And when I first came in, you can see there's a little partition here. And I just stayed on the other side. Now, there's two other dogs in the house. This is, I forgot this dog's name? Marlo. Marlo is old and blind and a great dog. We love her. Yes, hey, buddy. And then we have Manny, who is he a rat terrier?
He's a Chihuahua mix.
Chihuahua mix. It looks like a Chihuahua rat terrier to me. But and he is very barky. And he was barking like crazy. He was also barking like crazy. And so the two of them going back and forth, I think were cascading off each other, and she was joining in this a little bit as well. I tried to give him a couple minutes to settle down. He didn't. So what we did is I wanted to take him for a walk. And I had a fixed with collar, and he popped it off his head a couple times trying to twist and get away. A martingale collar like the one we have on now is, if it's sized appropriately, he won't be ever able to pull his head out of it. It can be nice and loose, and then when he pulls on the leash, it prevents him from doing that. What I did is I took him out for a little bit of a walk. We walked just to the top of the block. For dogs, inside, everything's amplified. Outside, there's distractions, and it's also a lot more escape routes. Additionally, for dogs, they get over things by literally moving forward. So by walking with the dog, you can help it process things. So basically, we walked to the end of the block. I didn't pet him. I didn't try to talk to him. I tried to offer him a treat or two, but he was just so worked up, he wasn't having it. He wasn't barking. We got to the top of the block. We kind of hung out for a sec. I took a couple steps this way. We sat down on the steps of one of the houses and basically just kind of hung out for about 20, 30 seconds, got up, walked to a couple more houses and repeated that process. This time the way I positioned the leash accidentally, he was kind of close to my back and I could feel him touching my back with his nose. He was sniffing me. Dogs should meet through scent. They are scent animals. They are sight hounds, but usually they're supposed to meet by scent. A lot of times when dogs are like this, they're seeing something but they can't smell it and they're reacting, and then they get themselves all worked up and then they can't settle down. Just like two people having an argument, after a while you can't just let it go. It takes you a little bit. You have to go walk it off and settle down. And I think that he was almost hysterical at that point. And he's not aggressive, but he was in a panic. And so basically, once he stiffed me, I didn't try to pet him, and that's what most of us do. I'm going to show you I'm a good person by petting you. Well, like I said, anything the dog's doing when you pet it, we're going to amplify. And because he also made it clear he wasn't sure he liked me or not, the more I touch him without him saying, I want to touch you, the more I'm going to really reinforce that perception. So when you have a dog like this, one of the best things you can do is kind of play a little hard to get. When you get past the barking and lunging and all the rest of that stuff, you want the dog to come to you. Now he's growling a little bit. We never want to punish a dog for growling, because a growl is the antithesis of aggression, saying I'm uncomfortable about something. So what we want to do is, if we hear our dogs growling, is look around and take note of the situation. Oh, there's the guy with the weed eater. That's stressing my dog out. Or there's kids running around, or whatever it is. And then we want to help to get the dog out of that situation so it feels like I don't have to correct those things myself. The humans, if I growl, they'll listen to me and they'll get me out of here, and then I can relax. So he just yawned, right? Yawning can be a calming signal or a sign of stress. Licking lips, same sort of thing. And so his ears are nice and up now, but before they were back. I think part of this is we're holding up the camera. He doesn't like the camera. And so I tried to do a little bit of a CER, but really he's rough. So we need to just kind of start with the basics, and that's kind of what we're talking about in the video below this. But this one I wanted people to watch because I want the guardians to have people come over and recreate the steps that I did so they can have a positive experience like I am right now with him. He needs to practice and build up a bunch of credits of positive experiences with humans to help him build trust with them. So not petting him, and he's eye contact dominant. So if you're watching this, you're about to interact with him, don't look at him directly in the eyes. You can look at him, just don't stare at him in the eyes. Hey, buddy. Yes, and I could get away with it because we made friends. And as you do, if he gives you a little bit of look like that, that's okay. All right, so what we did is, as we came back, I kind of, after he sniffed me the first time, we went about 2 more houses, stopped again, and this time I reached over, and if you put your hand out, see how he's turning his head away? He's saying no. And so I listened to him, and I didn't pet him. And then we went to another house, and I did that same thing, and he didn't do it that time, and I went with the back of my hand like this, and he was pretty relaxed about it. Now, I had the leash in my other hand, and so I was going to prevent him from turning around and being able to nip at me. So you want to take some precautions, but we also have to know that we have to feel confident in what we're doing. If you're not confident, don't try to pet him. And matter of fact, if you're taking him to the top of the steps and back and you're not petting him at all, that's fine. So what I do is stop every couple of times. If he lays down, that's actually a good sign. I'll put my feet together and make a little bit of a better bed for him. And so basically what we did was he started sniffing me, engaging with me more and more each time we stopped, and because I was building up trust by not trying to pet him or do any of those things. Then we finally got to this one. We sat outside this door. At this point, I've been petting him quite a bit, and he was relaxing. He was initiating contact with me. He'd done that several stops before. And so I was holding the leash, and I had my hand about where the elbow was, and I had the leash going where this forearm is. And then I reached around and went underneath him like this, and I picked him up. So when you do this, make sure you're supporting him well. And if you're holding the leash here, if he does try to turn, you can use the leash to prevent him. But we don't want to have tension on the leash. That can activate his fight or flight response. And then I carried him inside. And when I came inside, and the other dogs can impact this. So for Manny, if Manny is really, maybe somebody takes Manny out for a walk at this point. So that way your guest can come in and we don't have Manny stirring the pot essentially. And then basically if they can just hold him like this. Now if he's wiggling or worming, trying to get away, then we were going to allow him to do that. We had a leash here. I'm going to pick this up. And so for the leash, what I want to do is, for some dogs, being on the leash helps them give it up a little bit. And so what I did after that is I had him on a leash and I just stepped on the leash probably about 2 feet away from where it attached to his collar. Now I did this, I made sure that I was close to this little area rug here because I think it's more comfortable for him to sit there. What he's going to want to do is run away and go sit next to his guardians. He feels comfortable, but he's probably going to bark at the person at that point and say, get out of my house. When he's close to me and I'm stepping on a leash, we're practicing a little bit of flooding and he can't get away, so that kind of calmed him down. Now, again, we're not going to pet him at this point. We're not going to try to talk to him. We're not going to do any of those things. Hey, buddy. We're just going to help him practice being with us. And you're going to touch him like this, but you're not going to be petting him, especially if he's shivering. And once he's nice and relaxed, then you can put him down or allow him to get down, but I prefer you put him down, kind of like this. And so I'm going to use my second hand. And you saw that last little movement. He was a little uncomfortable about that. I'm going to slide a little bit further back just so we get everybody in the camera. Now, what I'm going to do at this point is just step on the leash. And he likes hanging out under the chair. If he wants to do that, that's okay. But I want to make sure he has access to that carpet. Now, if he's sniffing you, that's what we're looking for. We want him to sniff. Now, a dog is not going to take a treat if he's petrified. So when you do offer a treat, if you go like this, front facing is confrontational. Paco. So I'm holding it. Now he feels more comfortable underneath. And I held it here and I left my hand there. Now it's probably going to take a little bit of time before he's going to take treats from you. So don't try to do that right away. Yes, the old dog will give him a treat too. You going to take it? It's like, I'm not sure. He's blind. The idea is we meet outside, we're accompanied for a walk, and he's doing this independent of his guardian. So he's building an independent relationship with this person. Then the person should come in, hold him like I did, and then there we go. So now we have Manny here. Now Manny, right now, everything is nice and calm, and it's fine. You see the tail, he really likes his guardian, and his guardian just entered the room. But that excitement can also be a tipping point. So a lot of us confuse excited for happy when it comes to dogs. We don't want an excited dog, we want a calm dog. It's not that I'm boring, some people may disagree, but we want the dog to practice being around people in a calm and balanced situation. What we'd like to do at this point is I'd like the guest to just keep on stepping on the leash like this, not trying to pet him, not trying to do anything. We'd like to have the dog sit or lie down. Manny. Come here, buddy. Come here, buddy. Yes. Come here. Yes. It's like, no, I don't want to listen. Now, all of these dogs don't really have a lot of rules, and so that's part of the reason why these dogs, Manny is barking and basically demanding attention. So we talked about a bunch of things that I'm going to talk about in the Roadmap to Success video below. I'm not going to cover them here. But the idea for him is we want him to practice being around people who don't try to pet him and nothing bad happens. Matter of fact, they have really good treats. Now, when you're sitting here, if he seems a little bit tense, one of the things you could do is take these treats, Paco, and drop it and let him take it off the floor. Oh, somebody's now going to come to me, huh? And if he takes it, don't be fooled into thinking now it's my time to pet him. The first time or two that you're here, you might not pet him at all. The only petting or interaction you might have is by picking him up. And you have to be very confident when you pick him up. If you're insecure, you can create a bite. Now, if you're confident about it, and I'm going to show you how I pick him up just so that we have this on camera. So I'm holding it here. I'm holding his head this way, so he can't get to me. So, and then I go underneath, and I'm putting my hand under his chest to support him, and bringing him back up here. And like I said, we want to do this without Manny here, as Manny demonstrates. See, we're immediately growling. So that comes from Manny. So if you can call Manny, there we go. And so eventually we'd like to have Manny practice being in the room, but right now that's going to be over the threshold and over the tipping point. Here, Manny. There we go. Okay, so a little incentive. All right, so keep the visit short. Ideally, if you have some neighbors that you can have come by and do this, because that's really close and convenient for them. They come over, make sure that somebody's going to listen to you. The person's like, but I'm good with dogs. Let me pet him and show you I'm a good person. I'm getting away with it now, but I've spent 2 hours building up trust. I'm a professional. I know what I'm doing. So when you're doing this, you want to touch him like this and hold the leash like this, just in case something bad happens. Not that we want to do anything bad, but we can prevent him from turning his arm and biting me on the arm. I don't think he's trying to bite to cause damage. I think he's trying to bite to flee or to make me leave. So the more credit that he can get building up by meeting people, having a positive interaction, people come over. First thing they do is take me for a walk. Second thing they do is they stop and we hang out and I get to sniff them a little bit, and they don't try to pet me. And then we walk a little bit more, and then we stop, and I can sniff them some more, and they still don't try to pet me. And so the whole point of that walk is to just build up a little bit of respect and trust. And then only at the end, and you really ideally would like to have him coming towards you and sitting next to you, which is what he was doing on the steps before I decided to try to pick him up. Let me see. So some of his warning signs, if he's licking his lips or he's yawning or his ears are back or his tail's straight up, those could be warning signs. Any one of them by itself is okay, but I start seeing a combination, I start paying a little bit more attention. Breathing heavy or holding the breath. A lot of times they have their mouth open and we look at it as a smile, but it means they're actually stressed, they're dry panting. So those are all indicators that we don't want to pet him. We just want him to relax and get comfortable. Ideally, what I'd like to do is after the person actually puts him on the ground, and again, do it kind of slowly. So at the very end, you see he's a little bit nervous at the very end, so just be careful at the very end. And if you have to, just use one hand and keep your other hand here. Just don't put tension on a leash when you're doing it. I'll show you one more time. There we go. Yes, he's like, why do you keep on putting me up and down? So you're going to hold it like this. There we go. And he did. He reached over to put his teeth on me, but he didn't bite me. And he's just getting ready to do it. Now I'm petting him here, but you wouldn't do that. After you do this, you just can go ahead and put it under your foot. And if he's squirming or you're worried about it, you could have somebody else slide it underneath there. And then what we want to do is we want to wait for him to sit or lie down. When he sits or lies down, what I'd like to do is have one of the guardians then pull out a treat. And they probably won't even need to pull out a treat. Go ahead and call him.
Paco.
Hold up your hand like this and make a kissing sound. He's not sure if he can go there or not, so I'm off the leash. And so we want him to walk away, not freaking out, not peeling out, just walking calmly. And so now when you get up, he probably is going to bark. So what I would probably do is have the guardian give him a treat, and I'm going to have her do this now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a treat, that's a regular treat that we have, we're going to squish it so it's flat like a pancake. It'd be better if you got up, the guardian came over to the human, and we're going to go ahead and pan down and just shoot her from the knee down, or from the waist down. Go ahead and take a knee, and I'm going to show you first how to do it. Paco, 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 here, buddy. Here. So all I want to do is just nibble on it. And I'm letting him nibble, I'm squishing it like this and letting him nibble on it, so it's not just one bite. Whoops, I squirted at you by accident. So he doesn't get it all at once. You'll find that one somewhere else. There you go, Paco. So what we would do, I can change what direction he looks by moving the treat. Paco. So as soon as it got to be close to eye contact, that's when he moved away. So let's come back to me. So what I'd like to do is have you either pop a treat in his mouth and then have the guest get up and start walking away. But when you do that, before the guardians do that, they're going to step on the leash so he can't run after them. And we're going to step on the leash maybe about 1.5 to 2 feet away. And then you're going to give him a treat, and as soon as you give him the treat, the guest is going to get up and leave. We're not going to say any big fanfare, we're just going to get up and leave. So now he's got a treat in his mouth, and then the guest gets up. Wait for the treat to go in his mouth before you, and he's probably going to bark and might lunge a little bit, which is why we're going to step on the leash to prevent him from doing that, and you're going to leave. The idea is we want him to practice achieving a calm state by sitting or lying down. Sitting is I'm subordinate, I'm comfortable, I trust you enough to put myself at a disadvantage. Laying down is I am very comfortable. So at first it might only be a sit. Now, if he's on the floor when you're doing this and he's stepping on you or doing things like that, and you have a treat, you can reach over and give him a treat, but give it to him with a flat palm and let him lick it off and do it without looking at him. Or ideally, be good to do it to the side, but he's probably going to be right here underneath. And so put a chair here so you can do it without being on the couch, so you can be underneath. And then again, you're going to give him a treat or step on the leash, give him a treat, and the guest is going to get up and leave. And so that way he has a treat in his mouth as the person's leaving, and that'll hopefully stop him from barking at them. Now we can also set him up for success before this. So before this, we want to get him some exercise. We're going to toss the treats up and down the stairs. We're going to use the fetch, the laser, take him for another walk before the guest gets here or whatever it is. Now, if the guest, if he freaks out with the guest in here and he's too worked up, another option might be to actually put him on a leash, and then when your guest gets here, have your guest text you when they're about a block away. You go outside and you're waiting for him outside with him on the leash. The guest comes up, you hand the guest the leash. You can hand him some treats or a treat pouch like one I've got, but he's probably not going to be interested in taking any treats. Give the guest a couple treats just in case, and use the high-value treats with a really strong scent. And they're just going to, and then have the guardian come in the house. Once the door closes, they're going to walk him up the street. And as you're walking up the street, you let him do whatever he wants. Don't let him bite you. I don't think he's going to. But just if he wants to go ahead of you or sniff or whatever, if he defecates, clean it up, of course, or leave a marker and the guardians can go clean it up. But we want to kind of just let him, all we will care about him doing is moving forward. Now, if he bucks around a little bit, that's okay. He'll probably do that a little bit, but eventually he'll relax and calm down. But the idea is just to help Paco practice being around people where they don't pet him, they don't try, nothing bad happens. Matter of fact, something good happens. I get to go out for an adventure and they come back, and then as soon as I'm relaxed, they leave. If he's freaking out and that causes people to leave, and he thinks the freaking out and acting aggressive is what causes people to leave. Well, that's what he wants initially, is people to leave. Well, we're going to give him what he wants when he gives us what we want, a calm and balanced state of mind. So once he's calm and relaxed, the guest leaves. And after a while, you can start elongating that, and you can have that be more longer visits. Now, first, keep these pretty short, and probably your guest probably should expect to have to come over 2 or 3 times before they're actually able to start petting him or giving him treats. As he gets more practice and gets more confidence, this will happen happen faster and faster. And the goal is eventually when people come over, he's just comfortable and happy, and he has a positive association. All right, let's go ahead and step your foot off the leash. Paco. There you go, buddy. You want another one? I want to put you on camera one last time. Yes. And that lean that he has tells me that he's not fully comfortable. There you go, buddy. Let's get that one too. And I'm moving kind of slowly like I'm underwater. All right. Well, this handsome devil is Paco, and these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a fearful dog that's nipping and biting because of insecurity.